Welcome to the Vibrant Living Network. Have you ever wondered what is possible beyond possible? What is the thing you've been wondering and inquiring about? Are you just feeling stuck and don't know why? Are you thinking or are you seeing? Seeing allows us to expand and have this other experience. We want to invite you for that wake-up call. We want to invite your spirit, your soul, so to be more alive, more connected. Glenn Brooks has been a life coach for over 33 years, author of Divorced to Patterns, Not Each Other, an explorer of what is possible. He has worked with people all around the world. Join us for a wake-up conversation, a dialogue with you. We will have some of the most interesting contributors. We will be talking to some of the most interesting people and have some of the most resourceful teachers, wisdom-filled people from around the world join us. Share your voice, ask the questions, become free of the known into a new world of possibility. We are going to talk about all the things you wonder about: how to live, how to heal, how to connect, how to love, how to be seen. Your life is precious. Enjoy it.
Hello, I'm Glenn Brooks. It's good being with you. It's a blessing being with you here on the Vibrant Living Network. I'm going to let the Vibrant Living team say hello to you in a moment. I just wanted to give you what I consider the good and the bad news today, the good and the bad news, even though I think who we are and what life is about is beyond bad and good, actually. But I wanted to start off to say that life definitely is not fair. There's nothing fair about it on so many levels. That's one aspect. The bigger aspect, the bigger context of it is that it's abundant and much bigger than our linear content. So, and just before I got on the air today, again, I want to have the team say hello. I had this man call me back, Rob Cohen, and he listened to something I had forgotten about. I want to introduce him. He's in his own right, he's been an explorer of body movement and an inquirer, and it just touched my heart what he had to share. So let's go around the room today. Let's go around our beautiful, we're in a castle right now. We're all sitting at the table. Because honestly, my individualistic intelligence is so-so. It's only really when I'm in the infinite intelligence and have people come into my life way beyond my rational understanding, and it inspires me in another way. That's why I say life is definitely not fair. And I will give you one quick reality bender as I send my love to my genuine friends over at Mind Valley. Vishnu, if I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. I already feel a sense of family and union with you. And I want to share a quick reality-bending story as I share with you guys. Well, actually, let's go around and have the team initiate and say hello to you guys. Let's do that. Let's start off with, so Janet loves to say aloha, and we can start with her. Janet, why don't you say hello first? Or say aloha first.
Okay. Aloha, aloha, everybody. Gorgeous, beautiful, aloha, good, bad, otherwise, it's all amazingly perfect. Aloha.
Thank you, Janet.
Oh. Nice. Hello, everyone. My name is Cherie Marquez, and I'm down in the not-so-sunny Florida right now and preparing to see what's going on with this hurricane and about to board up and get all supplies. So fun on this end, but it's Mother Nature.
Right.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Cherie. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The infamous Dr. Randall, then we'll let Lisa and Herb take a crack at this. So we're at this beautiful table, and we're sitting here in this spirit of relational wisdom, and I want to share with you in honor of my friends at Mind Valley and to live the message what they're sharing right now so brilliantly with Vishnu. Vishnu, again, I'm just learning your name, and I send you my love. Go ahead, Dr. Randall.
Good morning. Infamous Dr. Randall.
Infinite Dr. Randall, absolutely. 100%, yes.
Infamous.
Yeah, we just have.
That is somewhat of a negative connotation, which
no, it's just in the most honor. You break the rules that don't matter. You break the rules that don't matter. You reach people's hearts, you heal them, and you move into the space, the relational space with healing and eagle eyes to see what's needed, and at the same time disperse the spells and the diagnostic traumas that often people take and they are given at offices they don't even realize. So you are a blessing, and I mean that in the highest way. Please continue. Please open the energy. Open
thank
the
you very
staff.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Love you. Many blessings. And blessings to you in Florida. I hope you all make it through peacefully.
Yeah, yes. We're going to do a weather redirection by the end of the program today, a weather redirection.
We could work on that.
Yes.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I think collectively we have beautiful hearts and intentions, and we can certainly send that storm out to sea. Especially we'll tap into the beautiful blue sky. This is Lisa. And we have no clouds in the sky today. It's just a perfect day. So I'm going to send that energy your direction, Cherie, so that
I often have this dream, and I had it the other night, where there's a hurricane, like a tsunami, and everyone is rushing around, running and hanging on to trees and stuff, and it comes and it blows, and then all of a sudden it's over, and everybody's standing there and everything's okay. So let it be so.
Yes. Let it be so. Let it be so.
Oh, yes.
Amen.
Absolutely.
And so it is.
And so it is.
So, Herb, you called me back, and it just moved me so much what you shared. And I went right into that. I went right into that state where we've known each other beyond time for years, and I share with you how I share with you how I was adopted, and so we had a little bit of a vertical leap together, and I treasure that. And you reminded me of something that I just hadn't visited, which was my series with Rose Rivera on That's Right, Beyond the Formula, which we're going to get into today. And Rose and I met in a very magical way. And I want to welcome you and let you say hello, and then I want you to share what you share with me, because it was awakening to me, and I loved it. And also, I'm happy you're here. Share something about yourself, Herb. Rob, I apologize. What I did is I misplaced you for someone else at the temple. It's Rob Cohen. Welcome.
Yes, you're very welcome. Well, I am sort of a healer where I've developed my own way. I was trained by the Feldenkrais method, a Knott von Yale method, and I wound up in a very unusual situation for a practitioner like that. I wound up in a very poor community. Mm-hmm. That people were not coming in looking for necessarily self-development. They were looking to be healed from particular problems, and it had to be quickly. So I've taken my spiritual work and funneled it into a way of healing that I've created where I can get people out of their pain quickly. But my main interest is spiritual work, how the spirit, the soul live in the body.
Nice.
And that has been wonderful.
It's so beautiful.
So, and it's very related to what I heard in your talk with Rose Rivera.
Tell people about this. I honestly tell people how you found this and what the name of the talk was and just your experience. I would love that. I almost did her, but I didn't. I corrected it with a Rob immediately.
No, that's
Thanks,
great.
Rob.
So I had, you had called me. Glenn had called me, and I didn't know who Glenn was. And he said he really wanted to talk with me and sounded very nice on the phone. And then I looked up on his website. Well, who is this person who I don't know who wants to talk to me?
You know what I said when you said that, right? Rob, you remember what I said when you said that to me?
No, but I remember you did say something.
Yeah, I said my parents didn't know who I was either.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
My parents had no idea who I was. So please continue. Sorry.
And they probably never did learn the answer to that question. If it's like most of our experiences.
Right.
That's one to work on,
Yes.
We parent before we know who we are or know how to help someone else become who they are. Like, what happens with that? Why did the world be created this way? Well, we know, but that's another story. So I went to Vibrant Living Network, and there were 3 talks. So I opened up the first one, which was, I think it was living with like unscripted power.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very much what I'm talking about, when we are present in our reality, not living from a script, which is what you were saying, unscripted power, where we are just present and we are in the flux of time, letting what's happening go through our cells, our being, we come up with different responses than when we're living from our head. And you really talked about that very eloquently and in a very non-linear fashion.
Yes.
And in a way I hadn't heard before, and I really enjoyed that because you even brought that into the non-linearity of the way you were presenting. And you said to people, it's if you're going to a dance. Just get the feeling of it. Yeah. Because there was a feeling that you were putting out which wasn't, a linear explanation. This plus this equals that, and if you do this, this is what you get. It's coming and just being with, seeing what comes.
Beautiful.
So I really appreciated that.
Thank you. You made my, it's just something about that, it just put my awareness of that unique relationship I had with Rose and the beginning of the series, which was called, this is the beginning, it was kicking off this again in a very focused way. It's called Beyond the Formula, which I'm going to kind of get into today.
That's what we love about Glenn, Rob. That's what we all love about Glenn. Is his unscripted power. He's amazing.
Yes. I mean, just the way he recovered from saying infamous Dr. Randall. And then he went off on a rip that was beyond what any of us could possibly do in that situation.
I know.
And the words that flowed out of his mouth, it was just awesome.
You should see him do the tango.
One day I will have to see that.
The mime in Hawaii over here, I got to be part of Unscripted Power, and that's how also, well, I guess I had met you before, but I was like, Unscripted Power, that is the definition of mime, and I'm a mime artist, so I was like, how does this man know the definition of mime? And he's inviting me to come here. So,
Well, I would say it's the definition of truth and being. So it's the definition of mime, it's the definition of art, it's the definition of love, it's the definition of lovemaking, it's the definition of cooking. We could go on and on of all relationships.
I love it. Thank you. Yes.
All right. So, Rob, it's wonderful having you here. I want to reach out. So my friends at Mind Valley have been doing this series. And I'm going to say Vishnu has been reaching out, and I just love his spirit. And I want to dedicate this format today to Vishnu and Mind Valley and Awesomeness Fest. And I want to let you guys know I feel totally at one and connected with your mission. And my work around relational intelligence and unscripted power, I feel a sense of harmony. And what I want you to do, I want to introduce you all to the Dog Mystic, the forthcoming author of The Dog Mystic, or Dog Mystic, developing or being in deep tune with your dog. And she's going to be coming here. I'm developing a seminar with her. And as I'm doing that, I'm basically doing some reality bending. So I want to talk about how reality bending and Cherie Marquez and all of you. And I want to give a really quick acknowledgement to Dr. Randall, actually. I want to work that in. So I'm going to somehow manage to do that. I'm not sure how, though, but I'm going to work it in. So I was watching Vishnu, and I know I'm going to learn your real name, but in spirit I feel totally connected to you, brother. And I love when you stood up in your chair and said the two biggest BS ideas that we run with every day, and that's all over Instagram, is this idea like work like crazy, don't question how you work, work. You quoted Elson Haas from Tesla saying work 100 hours a week. And you said it's utter BS, that the two biggest lies are working hard and education. And my soul yelled out yes. And I thought, oh, my God, what a breath release hearing that, because that nonsense as you said so well, puts people in adrenal exhaustion. It wipes them out. And so I'm dedicating the series I'm doing. It's called Unscripted. It's called kind of called Unscripted Power. Really, it's called Beyond the Formula. And I'm reaching out to entrepreneurs, speakers, filmmakers, authors, physicians, scientists, speakers. What do you call it? What are those people who put that together? Consultants is another word I'm looking for.
Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. No, there's another name. What's the name that Eric said I was a world-class something? What the heck was that word? What's
light
the word
worker.
when you kind of? No, not light worker. It's when you facilitate people. Oh, I'm a master facilitators. And I'm offering this to you guys. If you mention Mind Valley and you mention the show, and I'm going to put this out on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. We're going to take on, it looks like 16 people with a suggested donation. We ask you to participate with your whole heart and soul and body for 6 months. And we'll do this on donation. So if you really want something that's very different, that really allows you to focus on beyond the formula, beyond the goals, into some new claims and using relational intelligence and having a team, cover your back, cover your brain, cover your soul. All right, before I want to dive into this with Cherie,
Beautiful.
I want to give you a quick – I want to acknowledge – actually, I do want to acknowledge Gayle. You hit me with that one, Gayle. Thank you. Dr. Gayle Randall. So I woke up this morning, and I took my vitamins. I have a bottle of spring water. I have a gallon of spring water sitting on my table, and I take my vitamins. And Gayle, listen, she tunes into my soul and my body, and she sends me stuff. When I see that stuff on the porch – it's just so moving because I don't see it as a regular shipment. I don't see it as vitamins on the porch. I see it as Gayle's caring and listening. And we spend our hour to 2 hours a day doing ceremony as we have for the last approximately 77 days. I could be wrong linearly, but I'm not linear. 84. Thank you. I already apologize for it.
Oh, my God.
So I want to say today when I stood up, I could tell you that as I got dressed for the lovely weather, as Lisa mentioned, it's sunny and wonderful, I thought, I'm not worried about my eye today. I'm not worried about that. And I realized that's because Gayle stepped in and dispelled it at the deepest level. What I mean is that I left an office with a diagnostic terror, trauma. I shook for, a couple of weeks. And when I stood up today, Gayle said to me several times, she goes, I have that covered for you. Give that to me. So I want to say part of why I'm released and my intelligence is flowing is definitely my beloved Dr. Randall. I want to acknowledge that deeply, and I want to give you guys and thank you deeply from my heart and being. Even if our personalities clash, our beings love each other. I know that. I like our personalities don't clash. Like we have moments of intermittent heat. Does that sound funny? We have moments.
It's just the friction. It's the friction between couples that feeds it. That feeds the
good.
lubrication.
Thank you.
For the relationship.
Thank you. I couldn't find the words, I hope.
You wouldn't want to be with somebody that agreed with everything you said.
It's really good. Oh, you actually fed the next segment so well, which is going to be, the next segment is going to be with Dr. DeRose, David DeRose, after we make Cherie famous for being the dog mystic. Is going to be all about how to not just lower your blood pressure without pressure, but this whole thing about pressure, invisible pressure, whether it's time pressure, and I was really kind of getting on the yin of this, right? That the side it drains people's soul. And then Gayle comes back and says, but there's an upside of pressure, and I want to say thank you because there is. We're going to get into that at the 2 o'clock hour. Okay, here's my first. For you guys at Mind Valley, all my new family members, I'm going to give you guys a reality bend because at the beginning of the show I said, no, life ain't fair. Forget about that notion. You're going to meet all kinds of people that have all kinds of thought viruses, and guess what? They don't get it. They don't get it that time doesn't really matter. They don't get that we're souls. There's a whole bunch of stuff they don't get. But every time, if you could exhale 2 or 3 times and allow that, the unjustness, the unfairness. When I reach out to Gayle, so here's what I'm going to give you my definition of reality bending, and this is what I want the team of people, you guys who joined the Beyond the Formula, which is open enrollment now. Open enrollment now. There's going to be a suggested donation. And if it just makes your heart sing, I want you in this course. I want you to have your own show that goes out to we send an announcement to about 200,000 people a week. I want you to be one of our facilitators, one of our hosts. But I don't want to play with you and tell you it's an easy thing. It's going to require some soul work. It's going to require some dedication. You're going to have to go for a little releasement period where you're going to see things differently. And you know what? It's all going to be wonderful because we're a team. So here's my first reality bender that I experienced in my life. I had many, many but I want you guys to get this. So life ain't fair. I had $1,000 worth of tickets, and I called motor vehicles, and I've had many of these. But I thought, Vishnu, I thought this was one that your audience would dig and you would dig. I call motor vehicles. It takes me 2 hours to get someone on the line. You know how it goes. It's like, hello, motor vehicles. And I said, hi, I'm Glenn Brooks. And they said, of course, I got to wait another 20 minutes to get someone else. Because, of course, I'm in the wrong department. Not that I expected to be in the right department. So the woman comes on the phone, and she brings up my account. And I just have this moment where, listen, circumstance is circumstance, right? Circumstance is like she wants to read me everything. And all I do is I sort of play with her in the most honoring way. I'm like, hey, I kind of just joking to her because it's a $1,000 fine, and she's waiting for me to give her my card. But little by little, she begins to share something with me, this or that. And what I do is, so life, the bigness of life is contextual because we focus on the content, right? The burning house, the hurricanes, the money, the sex. But the truth is, the bigger context, when we could sort of listen to the wonder of the person, there's a different opening. So I'm talking to her. I didn't use the language reality bending. I just sort of was listening to her, and she confirms my amount. She goes, and right now we're in what I would call the universal. We're in the infinite mind together. I feel that. All of a sudden I feel a click. So when you hear about people, before you get off the phone, feel that click with them. Feel that sense of like, no matter what's happening, there's a click, and you'll feel that, and they'll feel that. And if you want to do it consciously with some people, just do it consciously. You feel that click. So I kind of felt this click with her. I didn't say anything because it would have been, hey, I feel a click with you. I didn't say anything. But she goes, oh, Mr. Brooks, she goes, somehow when I clicked the button, she goes, it erased all your fines. She goes, you in fact have no fines. Reality bend. So reality bending happens when we focus on reality and we realize we live in a sea of one infinite mind, and we're open to that, even in the most pressing of circumstance. And so if you want to develop your mission and have a platform that's really about doing things from the inside creative plane and not competing, right? I invite you to be part of this. So Cherie Marquez, I met Cherie, and this is an example of Beyond the Forum. I met Cherie, and pretty much I was tuning in for someone. I wanted to really host this show on Vibrant Dogs. And I would have these wonderful dance moments with Cherie. I'm very poetic today. I don't know why. So I had these wonderful conversations with Cherie, and I said, yeah, I think we could bring out your unique story. She sent me her story. Even before she sent me a story, I thought, oh, Cherie's the dog mystic. She told me she's a dog mystic. And she wants to bring this to people in a way that educates them, and it builds, if you will, a community conversation about the dog having intelligence, the dog having the sense of wonder. And kind of like the book says, and says it well, crazy people, crazy dogs. And so I wanted to, based on my own experience with Ben the Rottweiler, I knew that I wanted to, first of all, bend reality, because it doesn't make any difference that there's a whole bunch of other people doing this. Cherie has her own distinctive voice and expression. And I know that I could bend reality with her agreement, because it takes two people to agree for the miraculous to happen. So I have that with you, Cherie. And you are the dog mystic. And what would you like to, brother, we've got such a wonderful team today. And I just so love you guys and appreciate all your sharing. And it's wonderful. It's I think when Herb, I keep calling you Herb, I'm sorry. When Rob told me he sent me $1 million, I realized I didn't. He said, you didn't check your bank account. And I realized I didn't. I said, well, I have a bank account, but I realized I want to be flexible. If you guys love Vibrant Living and flat out want to give a donation, I'm receptive and open, because this is my mission. This is what I'm interested in being in the dojo for. I'm interested in facilitating more of that vital rhythmic pulsation in you through the Vibrant Living Challenge and through our Beyond the Formula. So Cherie, I want to hand you the dog stick. I want to hand you I want you to share. I did leave a message for Dave at it's called Pet and Soda City. He owns he's like the guru of all the big pet stores in this area. He's independent. And my vision with you is for you to come here and teach your seminar and develop a community conversation about the mystical, mind-changing, reality-bending thing that happens around dogs, and to expand your abundance and sense of ease, because you're in the right place doing something that you have such a sense of profound meaning. And what do you have to say about that?
Thank you very much. And I'm so ready to spread my knowledge and to teach people how to deeply connect with their dogs. And if you're wondering what a mystic is, I knew I had an idea of what it was, but I looked it up in the Webster Dictionary. So what is in the dictionary is a person who tries to gain spiritual knowledge through prayer or deep thought, someone who practices just like inducing a feeling of awe or wonder. So it's more or less teaching people how emotional dogs are and how much joy they bring to our lives, and just pretty much teaching people that rescuing dogs is so important because there's so many dogs out there, amazing, beautiful, intelligent dogs that are looking for homes. So that is my mission, to try and find and keep dogs in their forever home. So, and I am so excited about my new journey, and speaking in other parts besides Florida, and just my goal is happy dogs equal happy owners. So I'm excited.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, I made a note to myself for Dr. Randall today. I wanted to extend to you a bonus thank you that you could use at any time in the program today.
A bonus thank you. All right.
A bonus thank you. It's a thank you that's there just for you to use it. I just wanted to share that now. Yeah. So please take that. It's actually 3 bonus thank yous.
Like a coupon.
I just want to pipe in for a moment from Hawaii over here.
Please,
I
Janet.
want to give a bonus aloha because I have to go and teach my yoga class now. So it's a bonus aloha out to everybody. Love you all.
Aloha.
Love you. Thank you, Janet. Love you.
Thank you.
Nice to hear from you, Rob,
weekend.
too. Okay.
Yes, and you.
Okay.
Bye.
I'm very enthused to hang out with Rob. I kind of feel like I'm in this. My body's transitioning to feel more safety and ground as I transition. You know how like sometimes you're transitioning and you feel like the sense of shakes. You feel like. So when I woke up this morning, Rob and Gayle and Lisa and Cherie, it was so. It's sort of a powerful thing. I love backup music. I don't know what it is. I like to have that backup music be with me in the day. Backup music. Your life's precious. Enjoy it. Stay with us. We're going to talk more about. That's right. Beyond the formula. And I'm going to formally invite Vishnu to speak at our upcoming event in Burlington, Vermont, our Vibrant Speakers event. And let's bend reality together in a moment here on Vibrant Living Network.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Conflict comes in many forms and often triggers a fight-or-flight response. Some of us gravitate toward conflict, while many will stop at little to nothing to avoid it. Unfortunately, what we resist will persist, which often forces us to face our fear and deal with it head-on. Join me during my show, Conflict Rising, as I discuss the important role of conflict with leaders who have moved through it successfully. Tune in Thursdays at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, it's always darkest before the dawn.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything. I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor. If making my detox public is going to help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth. A message from Truth, the Ad Council, and ONDCP.
Hello, I'm Glenn Brooks. You're listening to the Vibrant Living Network. It's wonderful having you with us. And our theme today is life is definitely not fair, but it can be abundant and distinct for you. I was just thinking on the break, I want to welcome back Cherie Marquez, the dog mystic, who's doing her research on mystics of the world. There's actually a company in Maine called Mystics of the World. Dr. Gayle Randall, Lisa LaRose. Oh, and Rob, who I sometimes call Herb because I love the guy. It's sort of like a family name. So this idea that life's not fair. So here it is. I'm talking to this. So I want to acknowledge what I want to do is I'm going to go to that awareness in a moment. What I want to acknowledge what you said, Cherie, and I want to tell you that what my agreement is with you. My beyond the formula. My beyond the formula pact for you is to help you build this one-of-a-kind message around the dog mystic, and to have this deep, being in tune with your dog deeply. Janet Montgomery, I love Janet so much. Janet's my hypnotherapist. She works with Gayle. She's one of a kind. I'm going to have her on. I'm going to do a special show just with her because she's been so wonderful. So what I see, and I'm going to give you guys this. I'm going to give you the practicality of being able to do something with no competition. So you never got to compete again. And I want to say, I've learned this through my nervous system and my being. It's not something that, and there's different aspects of it. You know what I mean? It's sort of like people sometimes, I say to people, don't grab something from your outer mind and just take it. It's so much deeper than that. Don't just grab a piece of information and think that's the truth. Feel into it. Don't believe me because I say something. So what I said to Cherie was I was going to contact all the local people in this marketplace, the owner of the independent dog stores, the food stores, some of the groomers, some of the walkers. And what I'm going to do is develop a sense of community with them and have them on so they could share that Cherie's coming and she'll meet them. Because I like doing things from the inside out. As an example, I put a seminar together, and how I put the seminar together with Paul Botter, who's a surgeon from New Jersey. And I said, Paul, just send me, from our conversation, send me what you think is the most relevant thing we talked about. Because he was a homeopath. And he says, Glenn, my message has very little to do with homeopathy. My message is really about getting in the spiritual flow and being patient and listening. And so we produced a seminar called Beyond Holistic Health into Real Health. And we used everything, and we sent that out. And we filled that seminar, and no one knew who this guy was. So having people not know you, it's really this risk. And I guess I'm going to call this back to reality bending and how it marries Beyond the Formula. And Vishnu, I want to invite you to our talk, and I also am doing something at Carnegie Hall, and I want to invite you to that too. I'm just kind of free-flowing with our invisible guest here, Vishnu from Mind Valley, and awesomeness speakers. So what happened the last 2 mornings with Cherie was I got up just sort of full of inspiration and seeing a path that evolved through our trust and our breathing together. You know, here's the thing. When you breathe together and you allow yourself to exhale, you take away the sense of emergency. So the first thing on Beyond the Formula is learn how to breathe together. Let some spirit and energy open in places that you haven't had before together, so that there's some sense of relational intelligence. And I want to say it's so much fun to introduce Cherie to people that Cherie hasn't met yet. So I'm looking at the adventure of this and sharing it with you guys. So the unscripted, the Beyond the Formula is the vision of her coming, and not just having a seminar, but we're building something that people going to get introduced to this. We're developing a conversation. It's an invisible conversation that people have with each other about how dogs impact their lives, right? Dogs heal them, open new energy for them, change their brain, change their movement, because they do. And this is something that I want to develop, and I'm so honored to be working with Cherie. Cherie, by the way, go ahead and give out your website today. And, go ahead.
So my website is smartpawsdogtraining.com, and I just want to say that I'm totally honored to I'm honored and excited to be on this amazing journey with you, and the patience that I have and I have had to live my dream, which I am, and I've always wanted to work with animals. Everything that has evolved up until this point is 100% worth it, and I'm extremely grateful and excited to meet as many people as possible and help as many animals and people as possible.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. That's deeply beautiful. So, so here's the thing. In some sense, you could say we're all divine distributors who have been told another story. So the story we've been told and reinforced is that we're separate. Life isn't fair. Life is scarce. We got to compete. We got to compete to make it. You got to go to school. It's back to my friends, my genuine friends at Mind Valley. You got to get a lot of education because it's really, and if you don't have that other thing, you'll never make it. So we have a lot of people in between two breaths. And people say things like, well, that's a grown-ass man. Well, I got to tell you something on a grown-ass man. Anybody who says doesn't get what it means to grow up and to be a human being. Because unless you've grown up in the unusual household that actually has movement and breath, and you have some sense of what it might be to hold these attributes in your body, in your breath. I grew up in a household where sometimes my father had some beautiful attributes. Sometimes you would just throw a salt and pepper shaker at me. You get upset. So anybody who declares they're a grown person, it's like, come on, you're not grown up. Stop it. Begin right now and realize you've only just begun, and just notice where your breath is. Notice this magnificent called movement, and notice how that connects you to other people. So one of the things we do as a practice is we do things like hula hoop. We dance together. Like for you guys involved with Beyond the Form, I want to have meetings because there's something that happens when we actually gather together that's significant and one of a kind. And our next gathering is going to be in Vermont, in Burlington. It looks like we're doing something in partnership with the Tourism Bureau there, who's rebranding towards a real holistic city, which it is. So here's the thing. When you go beyond isolation, fear, and overwhelm, and I know this is so true for me. My acupuncturist walked in the office and he says, he goes, I barely touched your wrists and you respond. And he goes, that's pretty unusual. So I could pretty much feel and sense people behind me. I could feel people when they're going to call me. It happened to me yesterday night. I went off the I went off the loop for a moment. I kind of did something out of fear. And before it sort of came back in, I saw that I felt it, I felt it. And let me just see. I'm just looking at my office clock here. So you're listening to the Vibrant Living Network, where I must have pressed the wrong button there. That was kind of noisy. So all week, 24 hours a day and way beyond time, I explore this conversation with innovators, questioners, inquirers. And anything I say, it really is an inquiry. You know what I mean? We're in a co-inquiry together. And I feel like what we're doing and what Vibrant Living Network is we're kind of unlearning stuff so we could go beyond the obstacles. And what are the obstacles? I think one of the biggest obstacles, and my teachers, this is kind of fascinating what I'm about to share with you. If you guys into publishing, I think you'll find this really fascinating. So and I met the librarian at a church, Noreen Diamond. She was one of my deepest angels ever. She helped me so much. She's not a doctor. Give everybody doctorate. She's not a doctor. She's a divine agent. So I used to go over there and read the books over at the Divine Science Church. And one day she called me up and she said, Glenn, why don't you help me to clean the library? And I'm thinking, it's not my thing, but it's Noreen's. It's almost, we have a different equation. So I went over there, and before I went downstairs, I wrote 2 postcards. This is going to get back to reality bending here. You guys at Mind Valley, here comes another one. So I write 2 postcards about a book because someone recommended it to me, and they said, you got to read, you need to get the unedited version. I want to share with you what I've learned about unedited books. I know it's going to blow your mind, and it's a little bit of reality bend. So I go downstairs to help Noreen after I mail these 2 postcards, and what I'm doing is I'm looking for this book that's unedited, which I'll get into now. So why unedited? I learned through the grapevine, through talking to people around the world, that certain books, in fact, healed them, opened them up. As an example, the work of Joe Goldsmith, the person that Eckhart Tolle said, in fact, was the most influential person in his life, was Joe Goldsmith. And what I heard from them was it was the unedited books, and that every time an editor stepped in, which is part of unscripted power, by the way, is that every time we edit ourselves, we hold back something that's pulsating alive. So the whole premise of and I say this to people, I say I don't care how much speaker training has, I don't care if you put an international lecture in front of me, none of that matters. Because in this kind of speaking, in this vibrant speaking, it's really about coming from that other place. And most people have that knocked out of them at some point in school. And some people, it burns through and it comes through again. But part of, going beyond the formula is learning this other way of speaking and speaking from this place. So when it relates to the books, it relates these unedited places, these unedited books. And what's mind-blowing is the edited books are totally different. The wording and the frequency of how things are said in the rhythm is so different. It's so what happens is I mail the 2 postcards. I'm looking for a book that was printed in 1912 called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, because I met someone in South Africa who told me I needed to read this book, and he said, don't read it. Don't read it. He goes, let your soul and your brain absorb this. Don't read it in the usual way, because the usual way we teach us to read books is we're like information robots. So I'm in the library with Noreen Diamond, who I love and treasure. She's an angel. I'm cleaning a kind of a dirty library full of mystical books from the early part of the century. And as I'm studying that, what falls on my head? Reality bend, my beloved friends over at Mind Valley, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles from 1912. And as soon as it falls on me, hits the floor, Noreen looks at me and she goes, Glenn, that book's for you. She goes, take it. Mm-hmm. I travel everywhere with The Science of Getting Rich, the original version, where Wattles says, when you strain, I want you, Vishen. I'm learning his name, Lisa. I'm learning his name. He'll forgive me. So when you said on the Mind Valley broadcast that, it's time, people's crazy obsession with time, and you said so clearly that hard work is destroying people, right? And by the way, the definition of hard work that you're talking about is that people overstraining with this idea of a future goal, a future security, a future something, right? So we give up our current breath for a future something. So Wattles is saying when you're strained or overwhelmed, go on vacation. And I thought, oh my God. My son was just born, and I was thinking, wow, how do I bring them on? And I would just stop at corners in Brooklyn, and I would just exhale. And then he's talking about this idea of the creative plane. Now, the creative plane is totally different. So this program, Beyond the Form, is all about that. And I'm going to accept, we're going to accept, I don't know, I'm sort of the right number. It's either going to be 14, 16, or 18 people. And it's going to be a suggested donation. All right, I'm going to, what I want to do, Cherie, I want to tell you, so what happens is when I work with someone, in a sense, we become one. And I can kind of see things through their eyes. So when I wake up and I wake up this morning, I'm like, wow, we're going to write this book. We're a forthcoming author. And you made it, the most beautiful thing this morning when I spoke to you, Cherie, is I originally wanted to write this book and call it, Being in Deep Tune with Your Dog. Because Janet Montgomery, who I love, is a total dog enthusiast. And she said to me, yes, that's the title. And I said, are you sure? She said, absolutely. I said, do you love the idea of a dog mystic? And she said, yes. So I called Cherie this morning. I said, I talked to someone who's in our place. you don't want to just go give ice cones to Eskimos. But I knew that Janet was someone who totally resonated with dogs and totally loves the earth. And we had an incredible conversation. So I called Cherie up this morning, and she's the thing I want all my people to do. I want them to be challenging and let their part of the infinite mind shine through, because it's relational intelligence. And Cherie said to me, I want the book to be called The Dog Mystic, Being in Deep Tune with Your Dog. And I said, that's it. That's your forthcoming book. So it's a partnership. And if you want to be part of Beyond the Formula, I want you to realize I can't do it to you. I can't do it. We could do it in partnership. This is a relational thing. Now.
Right. I have to want it. I have to want it.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta feel like, I can't. This guy wanted to pay me $5,000 a month once. His name is Roger Jaffe. Pretty renowned Qigong person. Actually, I had a beautiful talk with him probably 3-4 years ago. But the first time I spoke to him, he goes, "Glenn, I want to hire you." And I said, "That's interesting. I certainly would like that." I said, "Tell me more." And he said, "Well, everyone I work with, it hasn't worked." I'm saying this publicly here. Sorry, Roger. This is a divine moment. I'm just going with it. But one of the things I learned from Roger, this is probably 15 years ago, is that the people he worked with, it didn't work for him at the time. And so what I say to people is, and this is so true, we must have a new beginning, and we must bring a beginner's mind. We must bring a beginner's mind. So that's another dimension of letting something deeply impact you. Just have a beginner's mind. Don't bring your thought viruses. Leave your thought viruses at home. So yes, it was definitely your part of the infinite mind, our infinite mind. And by the way, when I have that happen, when I feel that sense of we, it relieves my anxiety. I kind of feel like, oh, there's something that I'm tapping to with Cherie that's bigger. That's bigger. Now, what I wanted to do now is in a moment we're going to have, in 10 minutes, we're going to have Dr. Dave DeRose on. He wrote a book called The Methuselah Effect, all about the attributes that have us either live forever or for a very, very long moment, because I don't like saying time. We get to see by time. My biggest one of the days of my life that was pretty profound was I went to see Deepak Chopra. I'm going to tell you the story, then we're going to dive into how to dispel, how to destroy, how to eliminate the most scary thought viruses that come in your life. And what is a thought virus? It's a habitual or an acute thought that scares the heaven out of you. It scares the breath out of you. And as I say that to you, it happens every single day at offices of professionals. And then when they give you a piece of information that crushes you, that defeats you. And my experience, and part of how I met Dr. Randall, is she dispelled something. We're going to talk about dispelling, eliminating, and distinguishing, and clearing these spells. So,
Glenn?
Yes.
Just real quick, Rob, could you give out your information so if people want to learn a little bit more about you? Is he still on the call?
You there, Rob?
Yeah, I am.
Thank you.
Yeah, my website is rob@embodiedtransformations.com.
That's wonderful.
Nice.
That's a great name, Rob. Yeah.
It's embodiedtransformations.com is the website.
Oh, that's your website. Okay, thank you so much.
All right,
I want to to add that to the things so people can find you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, thank you.
Deeply.
I'd like to jump in here and be an exemplifier.
Please, Dr. Randall, and I want to extend you yet another bonus thank you.
I want to acknowledge when I spoke to you this morning how moving it was when you told me you no longer had the worry about your eyes when you were taking your supplements, which is a huge, huge, profound leap forward for you. And I just also wanted to share, because I see everything metaphorically, that, when I shared with you that your eye issue was not just what it was, like the ordinary diagnosis, which was scaring the hell out of you, that it was about
and the heaven,
that it was about an opening, your left eye being your spiritual eye. And I think, Rob, you could get this, that it was about his new vision, this amazing new vision he just described to us. This has just come forth, for him, through him, for us. And it's that vision that was marked by this episode with his eye. So everything has a divine gift, and that was the divine gift And that was also what allowed him to detach from the diagnosis, which was just driving the illness deeper in him. And I also want to share, because metaphors are real. These things are not just, for us to think of fleetingly. You know what, Glenn? Eagles nest. The babies.
Yes. Oh, you broke up in a moment. Please, you said the eagle's nest. I'm listening. We're listening. Is everybody there?
Yes.
I'm here, Glenn. It's Gloria.
Oh, how beautiful. Gloria, welcome. And Lisa, you there?
Thank you.
So, yeah, I'm here. It seems that
While we're having this technical difficulty, I just wanted to say that Cherie, the woman who's the mother of the autistic 21-year-old, will be calling in shortly. And Chris said we only have 6 lines, so I don't know.
Right, so she's going to, I have her scheduled to be calling in at 2:30 East Coast time. 2:30 East Coast time. So we're at 1.
Are we on or not?
I believe we're on 100 with Chris. We're all good. Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Chris. So the last thing you said,
eagle?
Please continue from that point. You started to say eagle, and then we lost you.
An eagle's nest and takes the baby. The baby eagle takes its first flight in 84 days, and that's the length of your healing. You took your first flight today.
Wow, that's so awesome.
And you placed your vision out for all of us to hear on the air, and for God and everybody. And so I just wanted to point that out. So I get exquisite exemplifier prize for today.
Yes, you
anyway.
do. You do. I have a quick
my bonus, thank you. So anyway, do you want me to talk about dispelling the diagnosis? I mean,
yes, I do.
That is how you.
I do. Rob, did you want to say something, Rob? We got like 5 minutes on this segment.
Yeah, just a very quick. That.
Please.
In 2002, I didn't even realize it. I profoundly lost all eyesight in my left eye, and I didn't even know it when it happened. I was shaking at the end of each night, and I kept on meditating. What do I do with the shaking? Because I didn't know it was my eye, and said, it's your vision. I went to an eye doctor, found out I was blind in that eye, profoundly blind. They wanted me to go for operation, and I took it as this was a message. And that was the beginning of a profound change in my life. And I now go through life. I wore glasses from the time I was 7 till I was past 50, and I've never worn glasses since. It took me a year to be able to see again, but a profound part of it is exactly what Lisa is saying.
It's Gayle, Dr. Gayle Randall.
Gayle, I'm sorry, sorry.
That's okay.
It was profound belief.
Okay. Although Lisa would say the same thing, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was not doubting that I could get better, because there was no one nowhere who was saying that I could get better. But I chose to believe that I could.
Have a good attitude.
Because so much of vision is mental calmness. Blur is caused by mental strain. So I knew that, so I just
Is your left eye? Could you see through it as you speak?
It's not just about vision. I see this happening with people coming in with cancer. They're afraid. No matter what it is, it really threatens their literal survival. You won't see this service in a regular doctor's office, although I don't knock them. There's some very compassionate, wonderful doctors out there, and I don't ever knock Western medicine. But it's fear, and then a lot of doctors don't take the time to relieve that fear. And when a patient comes in to see me, I say, let me hold the burden. Let's look at this in a little different way. And if I can lighten their load and get them to see the metaphor of that illness, that'll be like Glenn's path. But then there's another path. There are people that come in that are super attached to their diagnosis, like people with Lyme's disease, maybe, or EBV, and they you can't get it from their clutched hands, whether they're dying even. So what you do is you take the burden off of them, and let them know that to every problem there's a solution, and you help them carry that load of that fear that they have, that they think it defines them, and you let them have it. You let them have it. And pretty soon you see them loosening that load as they heal, as they get better, when you offer them other disciplines and things that can, and when they start to feel better, pretty soon they'll let it go. My teacher, Joseph Real, he said, don't get stuck in the form, because when you do, it can drive these things deeper in you. And he would give us a song, a chant. You know, what trees blow in the wind, they bend. If you imagine like bamboo trees and how they blow in the wind, and any tree swaying back and forth, it's this sound. It's alo, 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 alo. And if you can get that patient to chant that with you, they won't even know why, but pretty soon it alos them or wiggles them out of being attached to that diagnosis, and they can move forward in life and see the
Thank you, Dr. Randall. I want to let you guys know that we're coming out to our next hour. I want to encourage you to go to vibrantlivingnetwork.com. Listen to my shows with Rose Rivera that Rob mentions there. What Rob received, I think, was beautiful. So listen to those shows, and if you want to be part of our Vibrant Living team and be a host and a speaker on our network and live beyond the formula, call me today. If you're moved by this, call me at 4. And then I got to ask Rob this question, Rob. I got a question for you. 413-345-3747. Area code 413-345-3747. And this program, the Beyond the Formula program, is beginning September 16th. I'm looking for 16 of you who really want to lead the field, but you want to do it with less strain. You want to discover a new way of going on the formula. So, Rob, could you see through your left eye right now? Brilliantly.
I can see. I cannot see totally normally. I mean, my retina is very bad shape. There was a retinal occlusion, so the retina is not normal. But with that, even just looking through my left eye, I could get around, I could drive.
I have a remedy for you.
Stay with us for more Vibrant Living in a moment.
Rob?
Thanks, everybody.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
I'm Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Vibrant Living Radio Network. I'm Glenn Brooks. Wonderful being with you. Cherie, I want to say thank you. I love you. I got to open up one more line. Go ahead and give out your website, The Dog Mystic. And next week we're going to have you on with some of the team of people that we're bringing you here for the Mystic Dog Seminar. So give out your website, and I guess if you could clear the line, that'd be great. Thanks.
No problem. Everybody
You're
have
wonderful.
a great weekend. My website is smartpawsdogtraining.com. Again, smartpawsdogtraining.com. So enjoy, and I will speak to you guys soon.
Thank you, Cherie. Very
fabulous work.
Bye, Cherie.
Good luck on your path. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, hold on 1 second, guys. Cover for me. I got to do one thing. I'll let Lisa take over. She's going to be the main captain for a second. Actually, I'll be right back.
my last thank you for the day. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Yeah, sending sunshine your way.
Bye.
For sure.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Bye.
For sure.
Bye-bye.
So one of the things that Glenn loves to do is, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, you still are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just recovering from. No, Rob's story is so moving. Actually, I wanted to have a special conversation with Dr. Randall. And so you're saying you could see out of your left eye now pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, I could not read with my left eye, but I can see. I mean, when he examined me, he said, "What letter do you see?" I said, "I don't see any letter." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you must have the thing down. I just see black." He says, "No, I don't." I said, "Check, you do." He says, "No, I don't." He says, "We have a problem." That's where it was then. And now I could get around fine with both eyes together. I don't use glasses. I drive. I pass the test. I read.
You know what I want to do, Rob? I want to do something with you. I want to do something. I want to do something with you and Gayle, because this is intriguing me. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to welcome Dr. Dave DeRose with us, and I want to share with you how I met David, and let you know that he's the author of How to Lower Your Blood Pressure Without Pressure. So I want to talk about pressure for a second. He's also the co-author of The Methuselah Factor, because I always liked a book that tells me how to live forever and have a great sex life into my 500th year. You know what I mean? I thought that would be a good book to have on hand. So pressure. Wonderful. Thank you, Chris. I'm going to free flow for a moment, David, and share with people about our meeting. I want to welcome. No problem. I want to introduce you to welcome. I want to introduce you to Dr. Gayle Randall.
Hello, Gayle. Nice to meet you.
I want to introduce you to Ben Cohen.
Rob Cohen.
Rob Cohen. Yeah, I keep doing that, don't I?
Also known as Rob Cohen.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I'm going to start saying forever. Also known as Rob Cohen.
You've been blessing him with so many different names today.
Yes. It's been a mitzvah. It's been a mitzvah of blessings of names.
Because he has so many different aspects. So.
Yes. He sent me his original email, so could you please rename me many times? So I did respond to that.
Wow. Tremendous.
You know, Rob's been working with this guy named Andy Goldfarb, who is an amazing. He's like integrative medicine, like I am, only for the eye, and he's become my teacher.
We're gonna connect. We're gonna have a connection call. I just want to introduce David, but we're gonna do that. No, we're gonna follow up. We are gonna follow up 100%.
I want to get Rob on some of the things I got you on. But.
You know what? This is such a heart-touching thing. So we're gonna connect you guys, and we've only just begun. We're gonna do a lot more with Andy, and so I looked at David's book. It's the first book I saw was How to Lower Your Blood Pressure Without Pressure, and I thought to myself that this whole the whole thing with pressure. It's funny. So when I saw your book, David, and welcome, and I had that wonderful conversation with you, which it was a soul satisfying conversation, because we talked about blood fluidity, we talked about intimacy, which Dr. Dean Orr said is the most fundamental thing around true health. Much bigger than yoga, meditation, or stress management. And he said it took him 32 years to realize that. I really appreciated our conversation, and I appreciated your inquiry into the deeper impact of spirituality. And when I spoke to you, I was on the other side of the hill. I'm trying to think if I actually met I had just met Dr. Gayle Randall, or was in that ballpark.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, and I remember talking to you, and you were so kind to me, and I appreciate that, and I've always enjoyed our conversations. That what I love about you is I love your inquiry, and funny enough, I never would have thought to myself the other day when we had the conversation Well, one thing is about the pressure, so I want to address that for these 30 seconds. Although Gayle, as brilliant as she is, and I want to thank her for her brilliance, it's an ongoing blessing in my life. Thank you, Gayle.
Welcome.
That there's a dark side. There's a dark side to pressure, and I realize in relation to a lot of illnesses, we were talking about dispelling illnesses before you came on, David, and dispelling disaster diagnosis is the impact that language or languaging has. You know, I met one of the world's greatest performance coaches. I'm going to mention this. It's pretty impactful. He worked with all the big teams, all the big football teams, and he said, Glenn, he goes, if I could get an athlete to stop saying and acknowledging, I have to. Mm-hmm. He says it destroys the game, and I realize every day when someone says I have to, I want to say, don't say that. But it could be too much pressure.
No, it's powerful.
I realize what I love about you, and I love about Gayle, is I kind of, when I listen to you, I realize why. You have an inquiry, and we talked about this inquiry as it relates to the Red Cross and blood donations. Because I thought, where I see you going with this, and I love it. I love this idea. You write this first book on lowering your blood pressure without pressure, which is, I realize that the sad thing is, and this cardiologist said once to me, he says, well, the sad thing is, Glenn, he goes, if I had to be truly honest with you, he goes, a lot of people pass away when I'm not on call. And I said, what do you mean? He said, the other cardiologists speak to people as if they don't have hearts.
Wow.
It's just what they say is not going to kill them. And he says a lot of people die when I'm not around. People were laughing about it. It was sort of, and I realized when I was going through an intense period of panic, I remember I saw this older cardiologist. So the office was like 92 degrees, and it was me, and everybody else was in there. And I thought, what am I doing here? And I went. He was very kind to me, and he didn't scare the hell out of me. When I left, and I realized that so in medicine, there's this huge gap between like people leave an office or a hospital, and do they in fact feel is in fact the office visit itself causing more pressure, raising their blood pressure?
It's real.
Yeah. I'd love you to share. Welcome. I want to hear you share, and I want to say that from the moment I met you, I had a good feeling in my soul and heart, and I really respect and honor your message, and I'm so happy you're here today.
No, I mean, it's just great to be with you, Glenn, and thanks for introducing me to your friends. I mean, it's amazing. And really, when we wrote the book on high blood pressure, we were looking at natural strategies to lower blood pressure because what we were seeing as we looked at the data is there was a disconnect. Because if you look at the raw data, people without blood pressure medications, it's in essence, the lower your blood pressure is, within physiologic limits, the less your risk of cardiovascular disease and a host of whole other things. But once you start adding medications to the equation, that all changes. Once you start getting blood pressures into what many people consider the normal range, you start having more side effects from the drugs. And so this whole equation about the medical profession stressing you out more than they're helping you, it's partly true with the drugs we've been taught to use. So this story is so compelling, and we wrote the book really to put in one volume all the things that can help people naturally lower their blood pressure. We call it 30 Days to Natural Blood Pressure Control. And we've actually been looking at the book when people use it in communities, about a 17-point lowering of systolic blood pressure when people just do what's in the book.
So, yeah, that's beautiful. So one of the things I spoke to Dr. David about yesterday was sort of an interesting topic, and that was the topic of blood donation. And you said it tied in with giving and kind of, again, the sort of like spirituality of, it's sort of our oneness and our connection with other people, which for a lot of people, they may not physically realize how connected we are. And I was saying to David that, my orientation, kind of before I met Dr. Gayle, was sort of like anything medical. I wanted almost no part of it. And so blood donation, except for actually, I think it was Dr. Ron Rosedale. We did a whole series on reversing diabetes, and he was talking about the particular benefits for men. Now, you were saying it's for women as well. Chelating out
That's
iron.
What the data suggests. Yeah,
What's the scoop on that? Tell me, share with us why blood donations are so relevant and how they tie into your overall philosophy.
Well, sure. One of the things that put this on our radar screen is just looking at the world literature on non-drug strategies for blood pressure. We found a group in Europe had actually looked at the effects of regular blood donation. These were people who donated blood 4 times a year, and they found in the range of a 10 to 12 point lowering in their systolic pressure. this really got my interest, Glenn, because as you know, for years I've been interested in a topic. It sounds very esoteric. We call it in medical circles hemorrheology, which literally refers to blood fluidity. But I've been fascinated with this for years. And I said, wow, I mean, what's going on here is likely an improvement in blood fluidity. And so we started looking at the literature. We later came out with the book, The Methuselah Factor, which is really, it's a lay book that is designed to make this science of blood fluidity understandable to lay people and translate it into action. And one of the keys to improving your blood fluidity, at least for many Americans, is actually getting rid of the excess blood that many of us have. We're getting too much iron, we have too many blood cells, and it's not just in these kind of nightmarish medical stories you hear about hemochromatosis, which is an iron storage disease, but it's in people who are told by their physicians that they're fine, that they're normal, but the research suggests the normal range for hemoglobin is too high. And you're right, for women during their reproductive years, they've got kind of that natural protection once a month, but men tend to have problems sooner. But women, after they go through the change, it can be an issue for them as well.
Yes.
Do you think this has anything to do with us overeating? Too much nutrition?
Well, to be honest with you, it is really, you're exactly right. Too much nutrition is meat. Part of the story. Meat, you're exactly right. Meat is one of the implicated factors. The other crazy thing in the epidemiologic data is a connection with alcohol. And a while back, I talked with some epidemiologists. Why would alcohol consumption correlate with iron exposure? And at that time, they didn't know. So maybe I need to re-ask the question.
And there's so many men now on testosterone therapy, and they all end up getting high blood counts, and I think that's dangerous.
I agree with you 100%.
You have to really watch them. You have to watch them really closely, because some of them coincide with these bodybuilders who pound meat or or iron heavy products. But it can be managed. I'd like to hear more of your points about how to do that.
Yeah. So I mean, as we were looking at things that improve blood fluidity, I mean, one of them is blood donation, but there's a whole host of other things that improve blood fluidity. I mean, things as simple as just making sure you're drinking enough water. And Gayle, I'm sure you've had the same experience as me when we try to work with people with more natural therapies. I mean, I'm shocked sometimes by how little water people drink, and then you just have up their intake of water, and their urinary tract infection problems go away, their kidney stones vanish, and their headaches go away. I'm not saying that's a panacea for all those conditions, but we've seen that. Disc problems in the back. Good friend of mine, chiropractor, telling me simple strategy that can help so many patients, and people just still have not gotten that message of just drinking enough water.
Right. A lot of people's blood pressures go up when they're dehydrated, so that's another way, obviously. Yeah, so we try to cover a whole range of things, and like Glenn mentioned, we look at spiritual dimensions as well, and one of the things that we've really been interested in, and I say we, as several of us who've been kind of working on some of these initiatives, another physician by the name of Greg Steinke and a nurse practitioner named Trudy Lee. But, we're so surprised at the fact that in our very pluralistic society, somehow in many circles, talking about spirituality has become taboo. And we think we have to avoid speaking about anything religious or spiritual because we have such diverse views. Well, the problem with that is the data is so compelling. You may know the name of Harold Koenig at Duke. I mean, Guy has extensively reviewed the literature, and if you're leaving spirituality out of the equation, you're missing a huge component of optimal health. So we're trying to reclaim kind of that space as part of mainstream medical discussion and saying, hey, you can't sweep that under the table. I don't care if you're a Muslim, a Jew, if you're an atheist or an agnostic. We're all spiritual beings. We've got to start looking at spirituality in terms that we all can, civilly have discourse. And so when we wrote the blood pressure book, as Glenn mentioned, I mean, we did an extensive chapter on spirituality and health, really looking at really principles that cross that spiritual spectrum, things like forgiveness and humility and peacemaking. So these kind of things, and then looking at the literature, medical literature, and saying, wow, I mean, there's a connection with this, and
changing behaviors or with diet or with stress management. And I think it just gives people another tool as they're trying to optimize their health.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to move this in another direction,
life.
but, but what you're saying, it just hits to something really basic. What is science? What is truth? And the scientific method has become so profoundly limiting that I would say it's not scientific, because it totally takes away anything that happens within us, how our thoughts, our feelings affect our health. That whole internal thing, the way we have responsibility, that's totally taken out. It's only we have this intervention and this is what the result is. That's not science. That's one little part of something that could be science.
It's very interesting because the original symbol of medicine, bringing spirit from God into the patient to give them life, was the caduceus, the double snake helix with those winged Mercury on the top. And it's very interesting, and I'm not knocking the AMA because they've done a lot of good things, but the AMA has only one snake, which to me was always symbolic of you're only allowed to draw from the altar of science to treat your patient. And ever since my early years, 40 years ago, when I began, Native American, teachings, body, mind, spirit, emotions, that's the whole thing. You got to look at the whole patient, or you're not treating them. And when they feel addressed that way, whether you actually verbalize it or not, they become more centered and their blood pressure goes down. It's amazing.
No, you're right. Exactly. It's exactly on point. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of
I want to say your mission is so beautiful. It reminds me of we had this guy Timothy, and you'll help me with his last name, Gayle, and we'll give out Gayle's website too, Kurtzville. So he was talking about another model of farming called restorative farming, and what was so beautiful was there's so many people in different fragmented ways of seeing farming. There's people obviously that are totally into organic, or they're totally into different aspects. And what he's doing what's so beautiful is he's sort of bringing everyone together to change the whole agricultural bill. And he's working with public housing in Kentucky. And I just think about what you're doing, because I would love what you're doing is unifying the conversation. So we ended on the note yesterday of a conversation about an organization everybody will know, that a lot of people massively respect. And you were talking about the Red Cross. And I think we're going to get a spokesperson on from the Red Cross next week. What's the conversation that you wanted to convey to people? There's the physical part of blood donation, but it sounded to me there's another dimension of that you feel significant to our physical and spiritual well-being that you wanted to share around donating blood. And I know we started to get into that, and I wanted to see and how that might relate to blood fluidity, just share a little bit more. I know it was a moment of soul touch for me when you talked about it.
Well, what I found so interesting, Glenn, is historically we talk about blood donation in terms of altruism. And I mean, it's really true. And in our book, The Methuselah Factor, we do talk about these connections between positive outlook, between altruism, between kindness, and basically looking at so many different health outcomes. So if you want to have optimal blood fluidity, if you want to optimally manage stress, kindness and altruism have to be in the equation. So that's historically the domain of blood donation. You're helping other people. And that message is true. But this other message that's not been out there has to do with really how you help yourself by donating blood. You physically help yourself. And so we piloted this in eastern Michigan earlier this year and ended up finding that when people hear this messaging, these are people who, some of them never donated blood before, we just saw a remarkable impact on people saying, we actually did pre and post questionnaires, and people expressed their interest in donating blood who had never donated before. People who had gotten out of the blood donor ranks, they were saying, we want to go back and donate. And I was overwhelmed by it. The numbers were as big as they were. So we started talking to some of the blood banks, and we had great difficulty talking with anyone. Like anyone it seemed like they were yawning. And we're saying, no, really?
I know. I've had many yawning conversations with people. I would think, oh my God, this is the most profound conversation. Like, and we're calling the Red Cross to get them on next week, and we're going to speak to a non-yawner, by the way.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, we don't want to put non-yawner on the show.
I belong to the Gallon Club, Doc.
Hey, that is tremendous. That is tremendous.
That's because I have AB negative blood, though, so they kept calling me and calling me and calling me.
Well, it doesn't matter what type you have. I mean, they keep sending me notices, and I'm O positive.
They want all blood, but they especially want mine because it's rare.
Yeah, it's true, and it's great to be a universal donor. But I'll tell you, I just can't figure it out why they send out all these messages, and then when someone says, "Hey, we've got something that'll increase your blood donor pool," it seems like can't get the attention of anyone who can share even a modicum of enthusiasm.
Wow.
It's like you call and you say, "Guy, I'm going to increase the blood donation by 30%." They're like, "Is there anything else we could help you with, sir?"
Yeah, we walked into a Red Cross office. I'm not going to say where. Just the other day,
right.
Another guy and I, and it was like, like we were two criminals. You guys are not here to donate blood. I mean, what do you?
Yeah, it's a real beyond the formula thing. I want you to give out your website, 100%. I'm as I said to you for the first conversation, this is going to be a regular format. I want to dive into every single dimension of the Methuselah effect and a life beyond without pressure. You're not feeling cajoled and pressured. You're really discovering another level of heart health. You're sharing that with your family. And yeah, you're going to donate blood. Big breakthrough for me is I donate blood. I'm going to have to ask my doctor, by the way, David, about this. She's in close range. So if my doctor okays it, I'll donate blood. That's going to be a big terrible breakthrough for me. What's that?
Yeah, so the website is Compass Health, so Compass like giving you direction, COMPASS, health.net. So compasshealth.net, it'll take you to all our educational DVDs, books, a lot of free materials there, a lot of web content. We have a free 30-day video program, 5 minutes a day. I'll help people with high blood pressure and diabetes. That's all there on the website.
I'm making a film called The Announcement, and I just have this feeling there's something in the film we could put in around this. I don't know why. It just came to me intuitively. So my vision for when I first met you, my blink, if you will, and I say blink based on the work of Malcolm Gladwell. I wrote a book called Blink. And I have these blinks where I meet someone and I think, oh, my God, we're going to work together forever. So I felt that way as soon as I met you, David, and your wonderful work. I want to do this. I want to roll down and I want to give out Gayle's website, and Rob Cohen. I said your name correctly, and I bonused you some other names. So you got several mitzvahs today. I want to thank you because I got to clear the line in a moment. But let's touch base later, and of course I want to connect you with Dr. Randall here. And wow, what a wild story you shared. You had me actually feeling tears. It was like. It sounds like you had, in fact, a disastrous diagnosis with very little people listening to you at a deeper level, and here you are having this miraculous healing that's only begun, because it sounds like Gayle might be able to help you another level. Now we can get you to Dr. Andy.
Absolutely.
So let's do this.
But, it's another one of your mind benders.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. This is another reality bender. Yes.
Yes.
So let's do this. David, take 2 minutes. And let's always do this at the opening. We're never closing. We're just opening here. Take a 2-minute heart of the matter moment and leave something with people that you feel is to the heart of the matter. People are listening. They're having some concerns. Either it's high blood pressure or they've been diagnosed with something. We got a 37-year-old girl who was a Great Dane rescuer, and apparently she's giving up her Great Danes because of heart condition. She's 37. I said, have her call me. We're going to connect her. We're going to hook her up. She's 37. Share with something that. Because what I love about you is I get the feeling you're on the ground with the people, the community people, and you're there, and you just got this wonderful way about you. What's your heart of the matter, the matter of the heart message of the day?
Well, Glenn, here's how I would put it, and for everybody tuning in, I mean, the bottom line is there is hope. And I've seen so many people who come into an office hopeless, they don't see their options. And what we're finding is, just like Rob mentioned, sometimes people look at what's science, quote, unquote, has to offer, and it looks like they've run through all the options. Just had a woman the other day, terrible migraine headaches, ready to go to the ER, get narcotics. And another physician and I, we pled with her, hey, stay by. Let us do some simple water treatments. The person's going, no, these don't work. I haven't tried them before. And finally, we encouraged her to stay by. Simple therapy took away these severe migraine headaches. Person, was incredulous. I mean, how could that happen? The whole point is there's a whole list of things that the average practitioner is not sharing with you just because they're not on their radar screen, not because they're, complicit in some, conspiracy to keep you from the best therapies. And what we're saying is, Glenn, you're bringing to light some of these things. I think there's hope for people, and that's the message I'd like to leave. Keep in touch with people like Glenn, bringing people like Gayle to the table that are sharing these positive, life-changing principles.
Hey, I'm totally inspired about our series, Dr. David DeRose. I feel blessed to be working with you. I'm eager for next week, and as I said, there's some companies interested in underwriting this, and what I love about you is tell the truth. You're not here to, plug some product. I really just love the lifestyle focus and the caring, and I deeply thank you. And give out your website one more time for people who just joined us.
Website is simply compasshealth.net. And if the Methuselah factor stuck with them and they like to call, it's toll-free number 844-M for Methuselah factor, 844-M-factor, and I'll give you the toll-free number, all our resources there. And if they mention Glenn's name, we'll throw something in for him special. And
an invitation to a local bar mitzvah, by the way, with kosher food. You'll get an invitation to a local bar mitzvah. Yeah, well, something, an extra stretch for the audience. Give out the number, please, Dave.
Great. Yeah, 1-844-M-FACTOR.
All right. We're going to be, again, with David next week. We're going to go into some of the things that claim to profoundly help people. We're going to talk about non-drug approaches to have a more fluid, less pressured, wonderful health life and transform your community. Next week, I'll go along with Dr. David DeRose. Thank you, David. Be with you next week. And
nice to be with you.
I want to let you guys know I do too very much. And thank you for being a blessing in my life. Thank you, David. I want to say that I got to clear the name Herb out of my subconscious. Thank you for leaving for a moment. Dave Cohen's with us. I hope that's one of the names you like. I'm going to connect. Call me later. Me and you are going to have a conversation with Dr. Randall. And I have this feeling we're going to see each other soon, and I really appreciate your questions. I'm just clearing the line because we're on another segment of the show, but I'm very eager. I really have enjoyed your contribution, by the way, and your questions and your listening and your sharing about what happened with your eye. And, I think the bigger thing is that, and we're going to get into another part next week with Gayle, Dr. Randall, on dispersing and dispelling things that disturb us, terrorize us, and really how to allow another level of breath and health in your life. And part of it is just telling the truth the way you did, Dave. Thank you very much. So call me later, and I'm going to set up a conversation with you and Dr. Gayle Randall. Thank you, David, very much. All right. Now, let me just check the lines here. We have Gayle Randall. We have Lisa. Lisa, we got to get your input here, but I don't want Lisa to share with us when we come back. Oh, she's such a sweetie. I think she'll be all right, though. She'll be all right. So, the lady calling in is named Cherie. Is Cherie with us yet, Chris? Cherie?
You mean Gloria?
Gloria, are you there? No, if Cherie is...
No, I'm here, and Cherie's...
Oh, okay.
Cherie is the mother of an...
Oh, okay, beautiful. Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
Maybe this is a good time to give out my website, Glenn, so I'll give it out.
Brilliant time. It's a brilliant time to get out your website.
drgmrandall.com, drgodmotherrandall.com.
Wow.
My Instagram is Dr. Gayle Randall, and my Facebook is Dr. Gayle Randall. Thank you.
You're so deeply welcome, Gayle. And I want to say something really unusual just happened. And you are now listening to the Manifesting Miracles segment on the Vibrant Living Network, where we invite healers around the world. And our primary healer we work with right now is Dr. Gloria Kay. And I wanted to say, you're going to find this really interesting. I just got to put this out, Gloria, because it's going to surprise Gayle so much what I'm about to say. So we had an immediate Yelp response from two women in the L.A. area, and I think I should read it because I think it's going to come as a surprise to you, Gayle. Two women named Rhonda and Tony, they want to remain anonymous, have just rated this last 2-hour segment on the Vibrant Living Network with Dr. Gayle Randall. They rated it a 9.5 each, and they said they just wanted you to know. They did. They just put that in there. So, Gloria, why don't you introduce us? Why don't you? It is beautiful. They actually wrote the two beautiful women from the Woodland Hills area, funny enough.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, I'm sorry. I'm just grounding my being into the rest of my brain. My brain's, okay, everything's on board here. Everything's on board. And I love it.
Right.
It's the greatest day of my life sharing with you guys. Okay, Dr. Gloria, you called me last night very enthusiastic.
Very enthusiastic.
Very enthusiastic. And you told me that you were going to be funnier and more outrageous than ever today. And you told me because you wanted to introduce me to someone. So tell the story to the audience. Welcome our audience and Gayle and share with people what's happening.
I got a call from Cherie, who is the mother of a 21-year-old autistic child. And she wanted to know if I could help, and I wasn't quite sure. So the child having an episode, let me call him a young man. The young man was having an episode, and I actually called. It sounded as if he were howling like a coyote. And the way I set it up, when I do my remote healings, I like to have feedback from my clients, but he wasn't accessible. So
do me a favor, Gloria. Gloria, just speak up. Yes. Speak up a little bit. Your voice is coming through a little choppy, and I want to have it come through really good. I don't know why.
How about now? Is that better?
Is that better, Gayle? Okay, great.
So.
Continue.
Yeah?
Good. Good.
So anyway, Mom acted as the telltale because he was not available to have a conversation. So she sat by the phone and just gave me feedback as I worked on him. And by the end of the session, and it was only a 45-minute session, he was calming and the howling stopped. The noise that he was making, the sounds were of a different quality. And we both agreed that he would probably have a good night. So I invited her to tell her story. I mean, autism is a very, very difficult issue. And she personally traces back the autism to the vaccination that he had when he was a little boy. So hopefully she's on the line and she will tell her story. Is she on the line?
I guess not yet. Not yet. Says the head master of OMTimes Radio, my caring, wonderful friend Chris. Chris is with us as the engineer. No, she's not there yet. But I want to say a word about you. I want to just share that Dr. Gloria has done this work for 50 years. For at least half the time, she's worked with people in an unusual way to most of us. She's done that work remotely. Some people refer to it as long distance. If any of you read this incredible book, it's called Beyond the Local Mind by Dr. Larry Dossey. I recommend it, Beyond the Local Mind by Dr. Larry Dossey. Larry talks about we have a personal mind and an infinite mind and that we're connected. And so healing could occur beyond space and time. And I've had this experience myself. I've worked with Dr. Gloria the last several months, and it's profound. In some ways, we're learning a new language because we've been educated or schooled in a very linear way of seeing things. So this is a conversation from a lady in another part of the country who experienced with her son the healing long-distance work with Dr. Gloria K. We're waiting to talk to Cherie. You know, some people spook before doing a show, by the way, Gloria. I've had a lot of people not show up because they're scared to speak on the radio.
Oh.
Do you want to call Cherie and see if she's actually around?
I don't have her number available.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate.
Okay, no problem.
I don't have her number available because actually I am on someone else's tablet. So
she's here. See how Chris does that?
Perfect.
Chris loves Vibrant Living so much.
Universe.
He probably went out and got someone named Cherie from the street. Thank you for that, Chris. Very inventive. Hello, Cherie.
Cherie, thank you.
Hi there.
For calling
you guys
in.
are popular. Hi. It was hard to get in.
Well, this is what we call Gayle's almost birthday day here at Vibrant Living. So it's a very exciting day. We celebrate Dr. Gayle's almost birthday day every month, actually. So this is why the lines got tricky. So, Cherie, by the way, you have a wonderful voice. You have a wonderful voice.
Thank you. It's Glenn's first flight day is what it is.
Oh.
84 days.
So, Cherie, thank you. I'm flying to see Dr. Gayle Randall, and we're going to walk on the beach, and I'm going to go to Malibu. And my vision, Cherie, is to go to Malibu and play volleyball on the beach. And she's been my energy healer along with Gloria. So we're all here. We're all here, I guess, experiencing a type of miraculousness that's uncommon. And by the way, you have a wonderful voice. I am a matchmaker, so I wanted to acknowledge that. We have a new show coming on called Vibrant Matchmaking. I wanted you to know about that. Vibrant Matchmaking.
Okay.
So you have a beautiful. Good to know. Good. I want you to put this on your bar mitzvah list. So, tell us about your son, and tell us about. I'm always curious how people discover unusual resources and people. So I just want you to just sit down, put your feet up, and share with us the story how you met Dr. Gloria Kay, and share with us about your beloved son too. Just share with us. Welcome us into your life so we can get a sense of this. Take your time.
Awesome. How much time you got?
Oh, 2 hours, easy.
That's a good response.
So
I want to flirt with you a little bit too.
Okay, I have a beautiful
Go ahead.
son. His
Go
name
ahead.
is Donovan. And his birthday was yesterday. And Gloria, you gave him an amazing present because we were having an otherwise terrible day. So that was very much appreciated from both of us. So anyway, amazingly, he turns 21, which is hard for me to believe. But so, going back over 20 years, he was diagnosed with severe autism. And, and you guys probably know that was kind of the beginning of the when everything started happening and nobody knew what to do, or what it was and how we got it and what to do with it. So he was one of those beginning kids. The doctor said, he has severe autism. There's nothing you can do. Take him home and do what you can. That was his advice. And well, I'm not one of those people that would
share with us as a mom, because we were talking about dispelling, like dealing with disaster diagnoses. What was that like for you? How did that impact you at the time?
Okay. Well, first, I already knew before I got the diagnosis that something was terribly wrong. And it is devastating, except I don't know that I refused to accept it was one.
Yes.
I always kept telling my son, and unfortunately I was not able to live totally up to that promise that I would get him out of this. I'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so that's what I've been doing for 20 years. So, but it's terrible, and I hear about so many these days that follow just in my son's footsteps, screaming all the time, crying. I've been everywhere. I've probably tried absolutely everything that is out there. I know he's a high mercury kid, and we've done chelation over the years, but we haven't got it because it seems to have built up. So obviously his methylation, he's not getting rid of it. So that's what I'm really concentrating on now. But, when he was about 14 or 15, now granted, we've been all over before then and had a rough road, but we had a really 2 or 3 years of really improvement with him, which was exciting because he has an older brother who's a Division I tennis player, and we'd always go to his tournaments, and I couldn't tell if he was watching or not because he'd sit there and rock and do his thing. But when he was about 13 or 14, he made so much improvement that I said, okay, I think this would be good for you because, you can follow the ball with your eye, that kind of reaction and just see how you do it. He was a natural. He was amazing.
Really?
So we would go do this 2 times a week was his tennis days. But then I also had tutors come to the house working with him. He's very smart in that. So we had several really good years, and then 2 years ago, we nosedived, and we haven't gotten back since. And what I think has happened is over the years, and I really didn't have it over the years, although I think I was maintaining because of everything I was doing, but a virus, bacteria, something really got him about 2 years ago, and he would all of a sudden – he's very, very OCD. I mean, he would do something 10, 15 times, just over again. Or he'd go in my pantry and he was going to get his racket, and he'd just stand there for 10 minutes and just stare in this blank thing. And then we'd go try to play tennis, and he'd throw his head back and bang it on the floor.
I mean, doing things that he had not done in years and years and years, and even worse. So, yeah, it was very scary, very frightening. Come to find out, I do believe he's a pandas kid for sure, where he's got the strep virus. I would give him, well, first let me tell you, I had taken him to emergency rooms. We had one spell, and this one was about 9 months ago, where not only he was dropping weight like crazy, but I'm feeding him all the time. So, and he got to where he couldn't tolerate, like, you know, you used to eat a lot of protein, steak, chicken, so he couldn't even tolerate that, so we went to fish. So we were fish and vegetables, and that's what we are still on mostly today. Now I can give him a little chicken, but he would be doubled over in pain if I gave him the other. And it just got to be, but he'd eat 4 or 5 times a day because I was feeding him every 2 or 2.5 hours. He's not content really unless he's eating. But he was dropping weight. He was just skeletal. He looked anorexic, and though I'm feeding him all the time. And finally we went to the hospital. It got so bad with that and his noises and uncontrollable movements, and then his arm went paralyzed. It was just totally limp and very cold extremities. So do
me a favor.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second, Cherie. You have it's almost like there's so much there. I just want to pause for a moment. Yeah, no. I just want to be able to have the audience take this in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just recount this. Okay. So you got the diagnosis soon after he was vaccinated.
Correct.
Soon after, okay. And then you didn't give up. You started to inquire about what was possible. You started to, it sounds like you were implementing things that were out of the formula or the conventional things that were told to you. And it sounds like for a while your son that was diagnosed with autism was starting to make what you might call progress or healing.
He did.
Okay. So bring us up there, because now I want you to share with us about working with Dr. Gloria. And obviously you're someone who keeps inquiring and taking new passive action. So how did you find Gloria? Share, because a lot of people sometimes say to me, Glenn, how do you find these people? How do you find these people, and what's that like? And how do you know they're legitimate? How do you know they're real? So tell us with Dr. Gloria, how did you know she was legitimate or real, and what made you take the action to contact her? Let's start there.
Okay, so again, I'll tell you, in the last few months, I've done a lot of traveling and working with him, like IVIG and things to boost his immune system, right? But this last week, something happened again, and we tanked even further. And I was so depressed because I've been working so hard, and then I'm lost. I'm like, good Lord, what do I do now? You know, I have a couple of things down the road that I was planning for him, so I don't even know if I can get him there. So that night, a couple of nights ago, I was looking online, as I always do, basically. And I do believe in distance healing. I do, but I don't think I had. And I've tried tidbits before, but again, it was kind of trial and error, because I think there's a lot out there that isn't legitimate. So I made that leap of faith and called, and I actually liked the fact I had to call her instead of just leaving a message. But so I called her. She called me right back, and it was like, I think it was 9 o'clock my time or something. And anyway, so she talked with me for a few minutes, and we set an appointment for the next day, which I was thrilled to death. So, and that was his birthday. And
did you tell him? Did you tell your son?
No, because I don't think he would understand what's going on exactly with that.
All right.
So, but it was a bad day. I'll describe the day a little bit. So he can be very aggressive now, which he wasn't always that way before. Now he can. You have to watch out. And I became trapped because I'm one of the only people that know when that's coming, or his dad as well. Cherie, hold on, Cherie. I'm letting someone else in the operating room. This is very delicate. Will you give me a second? I'm getting a consulting doctor here to help me. Oh, you're right. Okay, Gloria, we're just recounting the story. Gayle, I want Dr. Gayle to step in for a moment, because I'm in the operating room, operating to remove the deep message. What are you curious about when Cherie tells a story about discovering Dr. Gloria? What intrigues you, or what moves you? Like, what would you want to share?
Well, I'm always about caring and helping, and I'm just so thrilled that Gloria was able to help him, and I wonder if vibrationally she was able to change his brain waves or something. But, there are remedies like from Standard Process, something called Min-Trans or Min-Check, which seem like they're nothing, but they can really help calm autistic people. And you might look into that. That might help a lot. And if you're feeding him a lot of fish and he has mercury problems, you want to make sure he's not constantly taking a lot of, I'm sure you're doing this probably, a lot of green drinks with cilantro and parsley and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all that.
And
Correct.
to keep the mercury down because, if he's already got high mercury, feeding him fish, there are great plant proteins to give him.
Correct.
Pea plant protein and soy make the perfect amino acids.
He can't have any soy.
It's about amino acids. It's not about eat meat. It's not about eat meat to make meat. It's about getting the right amino acids.
Correct.
To feed his brain. Yeah. Those are just things I thought of, but I love that.
Well, interestingly enough, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Gloria.
There's one other thing that came to me, which is tomatis therapy. Have you ever heard of that? It's a type
what is
of.
That one?
It's a French-derived therapy that actually was designed for kids like yours, and it helps them reorganize their thought process.
Is that a hearing?
Listening.
Is that hearing?
It's
listening?
with earphones, but it's actually
he's done all
different segments. Yeah. Well, no, it's different segments of classical music. It's a very specific.
Correct. You're
thing.
right.
You might look into it.
We have. We went to Chicago and stayed there for 10 days and did that exact thing. It did not help.
Great.
Nope.
No. Oh, sorry.
No, it did not help.
I want to keep Cherie, I want to keep acknowledging you for your. I love the way you hang in there. It gives my spirit inspiration.
Well,
Thank
when
you
I
for
said
doing
try
that.
everything,
look into the standard process stuff, Cherie, because the standard process stuff is so benign, and so, but can be so profound. They're almost like, like a homeopathic can sometimes change a person's life. So,
all right,
standard process. Yeah, Min-Trans.
And you could go. You could, by the way, Cherie. We're going to give out Dr. Gayle Randall's website, so you could certainly follow up with her.
Sure.
I want to go to this moment where you and thank you for being here. Thank you for you have a very inspired, wonderful, alive voice. So on your son's birthday, you did a session with Dr. Gloria when he was howling. Share with us about that experience with your son. And you're working with an energetic healer that you haven't met, but you researched. You have the, and I want to give out your website, Gloria, so people can kind of see you and get a sense. So go ahead and give out your website, and then I want to share your experience of.
Great.
Sure, it's drkaye.com. And Gayle, I want to support what you were saying because what I was seeing energetically was there was some blockage. I began with the area between his third eye. And conducted in through the third eye and then connected through the back of his head. And I think that was really the starting of the recovery. And then after we did that, I entered through the soft spot and went down his spine. So absolutely, I was in the brain somehow energetically. So I support what you were saying.
Okay, we got 4 minutes. Cherie, it's going to be all you now.
Real quick,
go ahead.
So he was sitting there. I was hoping I could even get him sitting at soup for that long. So I put on a movie and that he liked, and he sat there. And let me just describe him real quick. So one of the symptoms he's just developed lately is this bouncing and can't stop moving his legs and bouncing like crazy. Yeah. And then he holds his arms up like soldiers and sits there, and it's just odd, besides all the howling and the noises. So he's sitting there, and he was very hyped up when we started, and I'm sitting across the couch, and I'm watching him. So she's describing what she's doing. I'm describing what he's doing. And so really it was amazing when she went through that third eye and started that. He actually, for the first time, stopped moving his legs finally. And so I can see that the noise has settled down because when the worse he hurts or something, the more piercing the noise is. So the noise went down quite a few levels. He was still making them occasionally, but it wasn't to the level it was before. So that was the first thing. And then kind of funny, then maybe he'd bounce for a second and then he'd stop. And then it was just kind of fun or bizarre. It was great to watch, actually. By the end of it, he was like a different child than when we started. And it was like, oh my!
Wow.
I asked if I could keep her on 24 hours a day. It was quite amazing. Now we still have work to do, but even today he's still much better than he was yesterday. So
tell me from this moment forward, because obviously it's moved you and kind of shifted you and your son
very much. Mm-hmm.
And what's your message to moms and dads that are listening? I want to see your message to them, and I want to ask you what your vision is going forward. What's your message to other people listening and they've had a recent diagnostic of autism, or they, like yourself, have had the situation for years and years? What would you want to share with them?
Yeah. So those that are stuck in the medical establishment and think that they'll find answers there, they're wrong. And you are completely alone out there. I will tell you, for the most part, in the insurance and the medical establishment, you are alone.
Yes.
So don't count on any help with that. But this actually I kind of actually feel like I'm not by myself. So I kind of have a partner to try to piece this together and help heal him. And I believe it really actually works.
What's your vision going forward? Since we'll get about Dr. Randall's email and I'm sorry, I was going to make a funny comment, but it passed already. We're going to go out her website. So Cherie, what would you want to? What's your vision going forward? Like, so you've had this experience with Dr. Gloria.
Mm-hmm.
How has it shifted where you're moving forward? Like, in other words, in your thought system now.
Yeah.
Because you said so many powerful things. Like, what's your vision? What are you going forward? How is this going to impact your acting?
I'm still doing a combination, right? I'm still doing a combination. The mercury is the most urgent thing to get out of his body.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And I have been working on that, and I'm even, really going to step that up as number one priority first. But then, no, I'm going to continue this because as the mercury moves around, I'm concerned about that. Getting into really bad places and him acting out and stuff. But I'm going to use this in combination. I'm hoping to meet with the doctor 2 or 3 times a week, actually, for a while. And
there's
use
a really
this as
good
a complement.
There's a really good product called Metal Pull that comes from organic Hungarian moss fields. Amazing. That you might look into.
Yeah.
For your metal.
All right, let's do this again. So, Cherie, thank you, Dr. Randall. And I think I could have used the bonus thank you that I gave you at the beginning of the show just then. So, Dr. Gloria, why don't you go out? By the way, Gloria, as you hear Cherie tell her beautiful, unscripted, authentic story, it's so moving and so one of a kind. For about a minute, just take a minute and just comment as a healer and someone that worked with her son. In some ways, there's so much miraculous going on here. Give a comment at the end. I'd love to get out your website, but just comment on what this is like for you. I mean, obviously, this is sort of life-changing and profound for a 21-year-old boy who, in some ways, they left to rot a little bit. I mean, it's no one's really talking about it when they kind of said it, right? Okay, thank you. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but certainly the medical
I can tell you some
stories,
but we're limited time. So.
All right, you've been a sweetheart, Cherie.
Well,
Go ahead, Dr. Gloria.
My first thought, it's been a blessing to work with you and your son. So it's not just Donovan. Cherie's life will change, and I did a little on her at the end of the session. Yes, what I can see in my mind's eye, we might actually be able to restore him to the time when he was playing tennis. I call you later in the day, and we can set up something for today.
Cool.
I want to continue. We will have an amazing recovery. We will have amazing recovery. And I never like to give anybody any false hope. But we see, the benefit of this and the changes, and I just think there are more beautiful things to come for the two of you.
Cherie, I just want to say that there's a national journal called Wellbeing Journal. I don't have any affiliation with them, but I'd love you to write something and send it to them. I just like to get this story out. I'm committed to getting this out so more people could be aware of things like Dr. Gloria and Dr. Gayle.
For sure.
I just wanted to put that out. This Wellbeing Journal, and because this is the beginning of a beautiful story. And yes, my vision as we speak right now is that your son is playing tennis, and that you guys are happier than ever, and that he detoxes from the metal. And the relevant thing for me is that the story of a new beginning, a second life in his life, where his full wonder, his vitality is in this body in this lifetime. And it's not said, well, this is too bad for him. right? I don't know that nonsense. All right.
I won't stop until my last breath.
We got 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes to go. Anything you want to leave us with, Cherie? Want to leave us with a 30-second comment?
Well, I would love Donovan to be the story because I am planning on writing a book and did before I even met you.
Okay.
So
Good.
This is a happy ending to that.
I want to help you out. I want to help you out. So be in touch.
Great.
Be in touch. I'm gonna give out.
To every problem, there's a solution, Cherie. To every problem,
That's right.
There's a solution.
I want him to be the solution.
I do too.
I'm gonna give out. Go ahead and give out your website, Dr. Gayle. And we'll give out Dr. Gloria's. And then Dr. Gloria will leave.
drgmrandall.com.
On a professional note, Dr. Gayle, did you use one of those complimentary thank yous that I gave you?
I didn't need to. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Randall. And Gloria, why don't you go ahead and give out Dr. Gloria, for people that are feeling for people that are feeling, I don't know, hopeless and challenged, and what is it, death by diagnosis sometimes. It's I wish practitioners would say, look, it's not within my understanding of paradigm. Seek further than me. I'm not the final establishment. And sadly what happens is people say stuff that contributes to, and particularly around autism, where 60 Minutes has the audacity to say there is no connection between mercury and silver and autism. Exactly. That was so irresponsible of those bums to do that.
Right.
All right, I want to thank Cherie. I want to thank you deeply. We're connected now. Dr. Gloria, thank you. Dr. Randall, you're a blessing and a deep love in my life. Thank you, everybody. Your life's precious. Enjoy it. I'm Glenn Brooks for the Vibrant Living Network. Thank you, Cherie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.